Hey, how's it going? How's everybody doing? It is August. It is Texas Chainsaw Massacre month, and I have been watching the entire series. What I thought was going to be the order worst to best, and yeah, I really have to reevaluate this ordering because I am way off. And I had my reasons for going in the order I went to, and I will get to that in a second. If you also just want to throw, I just want to throw this in there. If you want to subscribe, help me get up to 1,000 subs. That would be outstanding. Just a little goal I've set for myself. If you want to like, comment after the video, and tell me what you think of the movie that I'm about to talk to. Well, you already know what it is because it's in the clickbait. But yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. But I have to reevaluate my thoughts and what order these movies should be in. Sorry about the. It's all messy shit behind me. I didn't. Well, it always looks like the fuck am I talking about? But anyway, yeah. I started off with Leatherface, the backstory, not the beginning. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning, the backstory to the remake. Just to clarify, it sounds confusing, but the one that's just called Leatherface, and it is the backstory where he starts off skinny, and then he somehow after that movie turns into a big hulking Gunnar Hansen, some magic sorcery power reason. I don't know. But I started with that one thinking that was the worst. But then when I tried to watch it, when I watched, I tried seeing it as if it were not a Chainsaw Massacre film and just sort of its own movie. And it's actually, I stated this in the last two videos, that it is actually a pretty good movie if you mentally take out all the Chainsaw Massacre elements and just sort of see it as it is, as if it's its own own fresh thing. And it's actually a much better movie when you look at it from that perspective, at least in my opinion. Then I watched Chainsaw 3D, which is not not a good movie, but again, it's for what it is. It's just a horror movie, a teen horror slasher kind of film. It's not terrible. It's just a lot of things in it that don't make a lot of sense, but that's in the other video. So feel free to please watch those other videos if you haven't already. I really like the views, and I'd also like the comments because I do love comments. I do love getting back to them. I love the banter. And now I'm going to talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation, or also known as The Return of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't know why it has two different titles, but I also heard there's different cuts of the film, but it's not really worth seeking them out because it's just not a good movie. Why I didn't choose this one first over the other two, and put this at number three, because I'm watching them in the order I had it mentally prepared before binge watching all the films. Um, Essentially, I remember it being a lot better than it is. Not remembering it being a good movie. I just remember it being a lot more fun to watch. But now it's just sort of like watching myself have a toothache. It has got some good points, a lot of bad things about it. Um, in a nutshell, Matthew McConaughey is the reason to watch the movie because he is just over the top crazy in this movie, and it was before he was famous. I think it was A Time to Kill was his first kind of big movie, or um, but yeah, it was before that, and he just he said he had a couple friends that wanted to audition for the role. Then he thought to himself, and he went back to the person. I don't know if it was Kim Hankel or whoever was doing the casting, and said, "No, wait, I want to audition for this." And he went and auditioned, got the part, and of course Renee Zellweger is in this film too. I would say Renee Zellweger. Other people say Renee Zellweger. I don't know. I just say I don't know. I don't know. That's just how I say it. But she's actually really good in this film, and it was actually her first movie too, just before she did Jerry Maguire 2 years later. So it was before she became a megastar, and she's even said in the past that she has no regrets about doing this film. But and she did a pretty good job in it. So good for her, and that she can be humbled enough to after becoming a megastar and just going, yeah. But she said it was also pretty scary because she had a guy swinging an actual chainsaw around in her direction, and really gave her the a reason to scream and run and do all the things she had to do. But yeah, and the movie was written by both Toby Hooper and Kim Hankel, which is kind of sad in a way because they did the first movie, which is a masterpiece. It's its own thing, and there'll never be another movie like it. I'm not saying it's my favorite horror movie of all time, but I'm not saying it's the best horror movie of all time. But that movie just will not be topped, in my opinion. And you could never make another Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie that comes close to that. I mean, there's still good ones. The remake is actually exceptionally well done, but it just doesn't have that grittiness that the first one has. But anyway, I'll get to that when when I do my review on that film. But this movie, and it was directed by Kim Henkel too, and it's like, dude, what the hell is this? You're better than this. I've seen what you can do, and this is not it. I mean, it's sort of a remake, but I don't know. Is it a remake or is it a sequel? Is it, what is it exactly? Like it's sort of a up for debate all the time. But something. But anyway, it's kind of late. I'm trying not to be too loud. Tracy's in bed, so yeah, it's got pretty much remade scenes and shots from the not shots, but remade scenes from the original film that are done not nearly as good. It's just like, let's take what we already did, switch the story up, and then just reshoot a lot of the same scenes, for reasons, I guess. I don't know. For example, like I made a list here. They start off, they meet a person who seems really friendly. And that would be what's his name? What's her name's character? I wrote her name down because Terry Prensky, that's it, who kind of looks like a discount Rebecca from Cheers. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just that kind of looks just the way her hair is. I don't want to say, I shouldn't have said discount. I should have said she reminds me of Rebecca from Cheers, Kirstie Alley, in those days. But anyway, yeah, sorry. So they meet a friendly person, and you got the girl going into the house. They sort of gender swap the order, but the girl goes in the house. Leatherface grabs her around the waist, just very much like Leatherface did with Terry McMinn, Pam in the original film. Throws her in the freezer. The funny thing about this, he puts her in the freezer. She kicks the door open, and he slams the door shut again, and then she kicks it open again. Finally, gets smart and puts something heavy on top of it, and then the boyfriend comes in, gets the hammer over the head, very much like in the first film, not nearly as well done, but the same idea. Then, for reasons, he takes her out of the freezer and puts her on a meat hook. I can't remember exactly what order it did, but I know that he gets in the house and his girlfriend's just disappeared, and he's just walking around casually talking to her. Oh, I got to go take a piss. Where'd you go? In this creepy house, after a guy was trying to shoot them outside of the house, or shoot at him, and he just casually goes in the house. Now suddenly, oh, I got to take a leak, and he's just talking like nothing happened. And then that's when he comes down the stairs and then meat hook over the head. It's just, or not meat hook, sorry, meat hammer or sledgehammer rather over the head. It's just not. It's just, and a guy was just shooting at you, and you're just, oh, I'm chill now. He's outside and I'm inside. Like, I think he'd be a little bit more panicked and a little bit more concerned about his girlfriend. He's just taking a piss, and then, and I think he sees the corpse in the bathtub. That's what it was. And then he runs down the stairs, and then he gets the sledgehammer to the head. Spoiler alert. But anyway, yeah, hammer to the head. Then later on, when Renee Zellweger's character is in the house, she does the whole jump out the window thing, and that goes a little bit different because she's being sort of chased on the roof a little bit by Leatherface, and then she falls down just like Sally did in the original film, and then he's chasing her through the woods just like Leatherface did with Sally in the original film, except here she goes through some water. Then she ends up at the place where they meet. She runs back and runs into the girl that the woman they met in the beginning of the film, or near the beginning of the film, the friendly one, who also turns out to be a part of the family. And then they put her in the truck and they take her back to the house. And then shit happens. She gets knocked out. Then she wakes up in the dinner scene. They got some other grandpa sitting that does not look anything as good as John Dugan did in the original makeup. With some long hair, he just looked like, I don't know, a mad scientist or something from an old movie. and he doesn't really do anything. He's just kind of there and wanders off, and then they have her over the bucket, kind of thing, similar thing. This is near the end of the movie. A lot of shit happens between then and now, but anyway, you get the idea. And then she gets away, and then there's Leatherface does his little dance. So these are the comparisons. Now, a lot of fucked up shit happens in this movie that makes no sense. Apparently, they're now orchestrated by the Illuminati, and it actually says Illuminati across the door of Matthew McConaughey's character's truck. I don't remember the characters' names. I didn't invest that much time into really remembering them. I didn't really care. But and this Illuminati guy shows up, and he's all scarred up, and he's got these weird piercings, and then he starts trying to do something with Renee Zellweger. I can't remember. It's just convoluted and stupid. This guy he apparently has a hatred for sideburns because his hair is cut way up here. And I don't know. But Leatherface in this movie, which was played by Robert Jacks, who sadly passed away literally the day before his 42nd birthday of a abdominal aneurysm, which was pretty sad. He was like a young guy, like 42 is not, or 40, well, he would have been 42 the next day, but that's too young to die of something like that. But his Leatherface was terrible. Originally Gunnar Hansen and I'm trying to remember the name, Bill Johnson from Texas Chainsaw Massacre were both approached to play the character of Leatherface in this film. Gunnar Hansen turned it down flat because they weren't going to give him enough money, which is understandable. And Bill Johnson, I don't know why he said no, but he kind of dodged a bit of a bullet. The Leatherface mask in this too is just terrible. Like he's got the killing mask, which looks not good, and then a new variation of a Pretty Woman mask where part of it's a mask and the rest of it's his real mouth because he's putting the lipstick on, and it's an actual mouth. And where does the mask end? And it's just all covered in, it's ugly and stupid. And not only that, like in the original film, he wore different masks for different personas, which is sort of touched on in this film. He's got the killing mask and then the dinner mask, which he comes off as more of a drag queen because he's all in a dress. And what the fuck was that? Yeah. He's putting perfume on and doing the lipstick all nice, where in the original film there is a deleted scene where he's just crudely putting the makeup on. Ugh, what the fuck is in my mouth? Yeah. But anyway, yeah, it's just, he's not a drag queen. It looks like he's about to go on stage and do a performance. And it's like, no, it looks stupid. And also, in the first part of the movie, when the Leatherface reveal happens, he's actually menacing, and the reveal is actually kind of good. I like the reveal. He just kind of walks up behind Renee Zellweger's friend, who's sitting on the porch of the house. Again, kind of reminiscent of the original film, except it's like a swing on the porch rather than a swing out in the yard. But he stands behind her, and he's kind of playing with her hair, and she's like it's a bug. And then eventually she kind of gets up and turns around and sees him, and then he's kind of big and menacing and grabs her, and that's where that comparative scene comes in too, where he pulls her around the waist and drags her into the house. But then after that, I mean, I know he's changed personas with the wig and the makeup and the stupidity shit that he's got on, but like all he does after that is just scream like a bitch. He just, and it's so fucking irritating through the entire film. And Renee Zellweger literally tells him to shut the fuck up at one scene, like literally, and he just screams and then sits down. I mean, that's not, there's no way. He just would have been confused and just kind of like, and then cut her finger. Who knows? He wouldn't have put up with that shit. And then the whole time there's all this chaos going on. Matthew McConaughey's character's like torturing her and cutting himself up, and the whole time he's just screaming in the background. Like he's not even a main character in this movie. He's like Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger are the main characters in the movie. The movie's about them. Now, again, like I said with Leatherface, if you took all the Chainsaw Massacre elements out of it and basically had the same movie, because there are no chainsaw kills in this movie, not one. Not a single one. He has the chainsaw, he's chasing her around, he's threatening, like he's putting 3D right there, cool. But he's putting the chainsaw near them and stuff, like, and he's not actually killing anybody. So it's not even a Chainsaw Massacre movie. It's just, you know, drag queen with a saw. Which actually might be kind of an interesting movie, really. Drag queen with a saw. I would actually watch that, but that's essentially what it is, and he's not really doing a whole lot. And Matthew McConaughey has this weird leg thing going on, like, and there's a couple scenes where one scene anywhere where he's chasing the guy. He's in a tow truck. He's chasing the guy down the road. Obviously, Matthew McConaughey's character, and I'm just going to call him by Matthew McConaughey because I can't remember their names, but he's not going to be able to run through the trees. He's kind of disabled, and he has a truck. Why not just run? Get off the road. Run. He can't chase you, and the truck's not going in the forest. So at least you have a chance, and then maybe you could hide somewhere or just disappear and circle back and get the hell out of there. I don't know. I mean, logic. But any other really? Oh yeah, and there is actually the coolest part of the movie is actually the very end when they're in the hospital, and the cop is talking to Renee Zellweger. And it's actually John Dugan who played Grandpa in the original film. And then you see a stretcher go by, or whatever I guess a stretcher or whatever the beds are that are in the hospital. And the patient on it is actually Marilyn Burns, who played Sally in the original film. And the person pushing it is actually Gunnar Hansen himself. So he is actually in the film, just not as Leatherface and like a blink if you miss a moment. And you don't even actually see his face. You just kind of see maybe from here down. You see his beard, and you see him pushing Marilyn Burns. And the only reason I really know this is because I actually looked it up because I wasn't 100% sure on that. But yeah, that's exactly. So there are cameos from the original film, original actors playing obviously different characters. So that's, in my opinion, that's the best part of the movie, and also because it's the end of the movie. Do I recommend watching it if you've never seen it before? No, not really. Not especially. Oh, something else I forgot. There's no cannibalism in this film. The original film. Now I know all the other films. I don't really think they touched a whole lot on the cannibalism thing, but it was a big part of the original film. So that's how there. And the bone furniture. At the dinner scene, there's some bones behind them and stuff. Where in the original film, the chairs and everything were all made out of human bones, and there was human skeletons and all kinds of things decorating the house. This didn't have that. Basically, they just look like a bunch of hoarders. There's just junk and shit everywhere, and But just trying to see if I had anything else written here that I might have missed that I wanted to touch on. Yeah. Anyway, but I know it is supposed to be more of a horror comedy than an actual horror, so I do take that into consideration. But yeah, do I recommend watching this film? I don't know if I recommend it, but I wouldn't say don't watch it if you're expecting like a good time and a good follow up to one of the greatest horror films of all time. You're not going to get it. If you're expecting just a lot of chaos, a convoluted story that really doesn't go anywhere, but it's just sort of fun to watch, then yeah, that's good for that. And that's probably about it. It's not the worst film of all time, but I still rated it when I was asked on IMDb what my rating was. I gave it a 4. I don't think it's worth any more. The rating on there, I think, is about a 3 or something. So still around the same ballpark. But anyway, that's all I got to say about this film. I will be watching the most recent Chainsaw Massacre film that just came out, the Netflix film, because it's kind of stuck on Netflix because it's got nowhere to go because nobody seems to want this movie. And I will admit, I've seen it twice before. The first time I saw it, I kind of liked it. The second time I saw it, after seeing it once already, didn't really care for it nearly as much. So I'll probably just watch this on the bus on my way to work tomorrow. So, because I don't think it's that great of a movie. I don't think it's horrible. I just, it's Leatherface versus influencers, essentially. So you kind of wonder, whose side are you on? Even with this film, most of the people that did die in the film are assholes. Just typical annoying entitled teenagers. So not much of a loss. But anyway, with that being said, I'm going to call this the end of the video. And like I said, if you want to subscribe, help me get up to 1,000 subs. I would really love that. If you want to like and comment, and I would love that too. Anyway, until the next one, bye.